how many of us really want to die early? But how many of us put deodorant on every day without knowing what's in it? We go through great lengths to try to avoid chemicals in our food, but what about the personal care products that we put on every single day? They absorb into our skin and we don't know what's happening to us. So today we're going to cover what types of ingredients we should avoid, how they have been hidden from us in plain sight, and what are some options we could do to replace them with. We're going to start today with phthalates. It's a word that not a lot of people have been accustomed to hearing, but phthalates are an industrial chemical that has been used since the 1930s. They're in plastics, baby toys, furniture, paint, cosmetics. You can see some of the things on the screen that they are in, even a lot of our plastic water bottles. And from the CDC in the year 2000, the CDC did a study on 289 people, just regular everyday people, and they did a study of their blood, and there were really high levels of phthalates in every single one of the study subjects' blood. And there were very high levels. So that shows, and we know from other studies that from the National Library of Health, it says that the body stores these toxins, especially phthalates, in the adipose tissue, which is our the fat right under our skin. If we really want to know how important this is to us every single day, we need to understand what phthalates are. They are endocrine disruptors, and the endocrine system is our hormonal system. You can see it involves all of our organs, from the brain, in the pituitary glands, the hypothalamus, and the intestines and ovaries. So, of course, that reproductive system is different for genders, but how it does it, we know that the EPA, the Environmental Protection Agency, tells us that the endocrine disruptors like phthalates can do this in 3 different ways. 1, they can mimic the hormones that we naturally have in our bodies. 2, they can block hormone receptors, and this can happen, like you can even start producing insulin when you were not supposed to, or vice versa. And they also alter hormone production, and this can have an effect on your sleeping and waking cycle, when you feel hungry and when you don't feel hungry, and sexual drive. It can even cause infertility and things like that. A lot of people think that you have to have toxins in high doses for it to be a problem. But we're finding out, science has found out recently, that it actually affects human beings way more with low doses over time, because human hormones are at such a minute level that any disruption to that hormonal process, is how your body communicates, is going to make a huge difference on your hormones. In this picture on the slide, you see that the chemical is able to replace entirely that natural hormone that your body is making, and then your body's communication system can get in haywire, essentially. One of the examples we have is called a drug. It's called DES. I can't really say the whole phrase, but it was a drug created to be a synthetic estrogen. And according to the American Cancer Society, between the years 1940 to 1971, there were 5 to 10 million pregnant women given this drug, DES, and they thought it was safe. They said it was going to cause them so they didn't have spontaneous abortions, and they also said it was going to help fetal growth. But in the end, after the children that they had given birth to grew up, they found out that DES, as a chemical and a synthetic hormone, which is an endocrine disruptor, they found that these children were infertile, and also gave them cancer as well, like prostate and vaginal cancer, in high rates. So from personal experience, this affects me because I found that I was feeling very tired all the time and my hair started falling out, and none of the doctors that I saw could tell me what was going on. And eventually I started doing my own research, and I found a lady on Diary of a CEO. If you want to look this up, it's on Diary of a CEO's website. The host speaks to a lady called Dr. Yvonne Burkhart, and she's a genius in toxicology. And she talks about how these phthalates are in candles, they're in our deodorants, they're in our shampoos, and companies get away with it. I looked it up on the FDA website. They say these companies can get smart and notice that we are wanting green products, but because of company secrets, according to the Fair Labeling Act, they are not required to tell us what is in things like fragrances. All they have to do is put on the label the word fragrance or perfume. I'm sure all of us here have probably seen labels that say natural additives or natural flavors. So next time you look at your labels, be a little bit more cautious, because according to the FDA, if you want to buy a product that does not have these dangerous chemicals in them, you need to be looking for phthalate-free, fragrance-free products that say it, and BPA-free. That's important as well. Because they are getting wise. They can say natural ingredients, but I mean, if you think about it, petroleum is naturally derived, but I really don't want that in my moisturizer. It does come from the earth, but it's not good for us. Some of the opposite opinions about this would be, it's very convenient for me to just use the kind of deodorant that I've been using my entire life, or the kind of shampoo. But I would argue that your health is important, and it's going to be much more disruptive to your life to have a hospital stay in the future, or have things like I did, which can't be explained by doctors. It's much easier to replace something with a natural option than to deal with health issues down the road. Another argument we hear about this constantly is natural products don't work as well, which honestly is somewhat true when it comes to deodorant, because it really isn't as strong because it doesn't have that chemical perfumes, but all you have to do is put them on more often. And that's a pretty simple fix. So just put them on more often and find the products that work for you. Some easy changes to make: look for things that are essential oils, natural deodorants, obviously say paraben-free, phthalate-free. If you want to pause and screenshot any of these are things that have worked for us. We changed from non-stick cookware to cast iron. That's one of the major things we did as well, because non-stick is a huge endocrine disruptor. Some deodorants that you might want to try, especially Meow Meow Tweet. That is adorable. And in the end, we know that turtles swim through the ocean, and we get so sad when they eat plastic because they aren't able to look at a list of ingredients and they don't exactly know what they're consuming. Human beings are able to do their own research and look at these products and try to have a more discerning spirit about what we buy. So please don't be like a turtle and just eat plastic. Let's just do our research. And this is my works cited page.